This year at E3, Nintendo gave us a lot more information on The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, including that subtitle. In this video, I will give my opinions on that information and the gameplay shown. Right from the start, the game looks surprisingly polished for a demo. The art style is both cartoonish and detailed, the atmosphere is breathtaking, and the menus are unobtrusive. As for music, it seems to take a backseat in this title. There is very little music outside, except for during combat, and more atmospheric tracks back the underground areas. Much of the music was performed on the piano, nicely accompanying the game's simple visuals, and everything that could be played with real instruments sounds like it was. Even the typical puzzle solved jingle is played on the piano.
So, that was a risky way.
We didn't get much in terms of story, seeing as they didn't want to spoil it for us. But we do know that the game starts very quickly and smoothly, teaching the player the basics. It's only 5 minutes before you're out in the open, a nice change of pace from recent Zelda games. This is just a demo, but we shouldn't expect it to change much. Aonuma-san, director of the game, said that you'll be able to discover the story at your own pace. I'm pretty excited for this, but I hope the story won't be too hidden. I really want to experience as much of it as possible. This is what most of the footage focused on. I can't cover all of it, but here are the basics. The exploration is the main new thing in the game. According to Nintendo, everything the player sees can be reached, and every wall can be climbed, at least partly. The stamina gauge from Skyward Sword returns, this time also depleting when Link is climbing. Though there were no towns in the demo version, just beautiful wilderness, Aonuma-san promises there will be some in the full game. I'm excited for all this freedom, but I don't think it's the way to go for all future Zelda games. There's a special place in my heart for more linear Zeldas, like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and I don't want those kinds of experiences to go away. At the same time, I wish they'd gone farther and eliminated the towns entirely. Could have focused even more on the wilderness. There was plenty of good stuff there. Also, plenty of other open-world games have towns too, and Breath of the Wild is borrowing a lot from them already. But I'm generally happy about the freedom exploration will bring. Combat has been refreshed to fit that freedom. Weapons will now wear out, and can be exchanged for new ones dropped by enemies and found in chests. Weapons will also have statistics, adding a sense of progression to the game while, hopefully, not requiring too much grinding. Several smaller tweaks seem to make combat more natural, and a flurried rush mode will let the player slow down time if they land a good hit. There are encampments of enemies scattered throughout the world in varying designs. Several shown were simple treehouses, while another was shaped like a skull. We only saw bokoblins in the gameplay, but many other types of enemies were promised in the trailer to be found in other areas. I'm quite excited for this new system, and I can't really see a downside. To help with the combat, there's a new cooking system. It's kind of cool, but mainly it shows how this game subtly keeps you in the game world and out of menus. Yes, the selection of ingredients is done in the inventory, but setting up a fire isn't. Instead, you simply strike flint with a metal weapon into some firewood. I'm looking forward to this small change and the possibility of others like it. But Zelda isn't known for combat or cooking, it's known for puzzle solving. We didn't see any actual dungeons. Instead, we saw 6 of the more than 100 shrines that will dot the world. All of the ones we saw were disappointingly linear, a sharp contrast to the world that surrounds them, and the first 4 simply introduced new powers called rune abilities. These act like the dungeon items in A Link Between Worlds. They help solve puzzles throughout the world and shrines, and they need to recharge after each use. It's unclear if the actual dungeons will have their own items, but I hope they do. As for the last 2 shrines we saw, they were more interesting. They were bigger mazes that could conceivably be beaten without runes, but runes clearly made them easier. Again, I'm a bit more conservative than most. I like this idea of optional items, but I don't want single-solution puzzles to go away entirely. I hope the dungeons have more definite puzzles to balance the game out. Regardless, I'm excited to see how it will play out. Altogether, I really like how this demo looks and sounds, but I have some small doubts about the gameplay. I'm sure it will be fun, but all that freedom does come at the cost of a less fine-tuned experience. It won't be the same as the Wind Waker Twilight Princess, but that's a good thing. I'm certainly looking forward to it.